Hi, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to be showing you a card, and I'm going to be using the stamp set Happy Birthday to You. The stamp set is free with a $50 order right now as part of celebration, and I'm going to be using the birthday dies, and those are available to customers starting February 4th. If you're a demonstrator, you can order them now, but otherwise you can order them February 4th. Then the card I'm going to show you, I'm going to post it now, but if you like it, you will want to come back on January 31st and February 1st. I'm going to be doing a Facebook 24-hour event with a couple of my girlfriends, so you can find it on my Facebook page, Cheri's Cards, or go over to Stamp It Online. I'll put the links down below, and then all of it will be on our group Facebook page, because this is one of my alternate sets. We have a whole bunch of stuff, as you can imagine, in 24 hours that we're going to be showing you. So this is just kind of a preview for one of my alternate sets. We've all picked an alternate set. So this is just kind of to get you excited for my alternate set. So I'm going to be using the new watercolor paper that's in the catalog. I say new, it was new to the annual catalog. It's called the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I'm a huge fan of watercolor paper. I haven't used this a whole lot on my videos. And the difference of it, if you've used our watercolor paper before, is this one doesn't have like all of the little dimply things. Because a lot of times watercolor paper is kind of hard to stamp on because it's got so many little divots in it. So this one's much more smooth. So I'm going to be using that. I've got some vanilla cardstock, and I just cut it long ways just for some interest. Just sometimes I like to have my cards open a different direction. So let's fold this so it'll just open sideways. And when you do it this way, it's you can open it this way or this way. Mine's gonna go this way. And then I've got a sheet of these, and these are from the Peaceful Poppy Elements. And I'm just gonna pull this little piece out right here. And I'm gonna use that. So the Peaceful Poppy Elements come with a whole bunch of pieces, but you don't have to always use the flowers, because this I just like I like the shiny black, and it's gonna give some nice contrast to our card. So let's do that. And then I'm obviously going to watercolor a little bit on my watercolor paper. So when you stamp with the watercolor, you can use Memento. There is a chance it could smear. So I'm just gonna use the Stays On because it's a nicer ink to watercolor with, because there's no chance of smearing. And I'm just gonna use the flowers for this card. So it's a birthday cake. The stand, it's a cake on a stand, and you also get an alternate stand and the dies, which are super pretty, and you will see me use that on the weekend if you come to our lives. A lot of this stuff I will post again. I'm just gonna give this a second extra because watercolor paper is really thick, and then I'll give it a second to kind of smash down in there. So I've got my flowers. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the other stamping while I have my pad open. Kind of knocked it off. My hands are already inky. As you can imagine, with 24 hours of stamping, it takes a lot of stuff to stamp. So I have been busy working in my office, and I tried to clean my hands up a little bit, but they're still kind of inky. But that's what happens when you craft, right? So I'm just going to use the long Happy Birthday, and this also comes in the set. Just put it here. It's a lovely font. It's a nice bold birthday font. And then it also comes with a little splattery. Where did I put it? And I'm just going to add some. It will be also nice later when my hands get dirty, I need to cover anything up, and I might go back and add some then. But right now you don't need to like get it everywhere, and I don't need to like push down the whole way, but that'll just give it a little bit of texture. So that's all the stamping. You could stamp the inside of your card if you wanted to. I'm not going to right at the moment. Okay, so now let's pull the die cutting machine over, and then the dies come with some dies that will cut out the whole cake. I just need my flowers because that's what I'm going to use for this. So I'm just going to put them on here and just get my flowers out. That's why I didn't stamp my whole cake on there, if you were wondering. So line those up on here. And then it also comes with, these are kind of fun because they're stuck together. If I can pick them up. So a couple of different leaves. And I'm just going to do these on watercolor paper too. If you have some scraps, use your scraps. I bumped those when I was not looking. And this way you'll get 4 leaves with the 1 pass. And it just takes one go through and you get them all. So watercolor paper is a little bit thicker. So if you find that you're using some more detailed dies, you might need to send it 2 passes through, but this was fine for when I used it before. So you can see it got the details of the leaves. Okay, because I'm going to do some watercoloring and because I freshly painted my table, if I'm going to have a studio tour, all of us are, as part of our 24 hours. So that was part of the reason my table was looking a hot mess and my husband offered to do it for me. So just pop these out of here. But I'm going to use the silicone sheet right here just so my watercolor doesn't soak through onto my table. If it was not freshly painted, I would not be doing that. So you may ask why I've not done that in the past. And it's because my table, the more used it gets, the less I care. Because we usually paint it about once in the summer, but this summer we skipped it. And it was showing signs of needing to be painted. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be painting with my favorite thing to paint with. And again, I'm going to use these a bunch of different ways on the weekend. But my aqua painters that I have filled with refills. That's part of the reason my hands are dirty. Because I did make this little cheat sheet of the colors that I have so far. And I'll talk more about those on the weekend. And there'll be other videos coming up. So these are the colors that I'm using today. I have tried in the past to, if I have other videos up on my channel that you can see where I've used these. And I have tried to write on them so I know what color they are. It doesn't write well. This one is Pear Pizzazz. So I did get this little thing punched out right here. It's nice that they gave us a die that will just cut out the leaves. So I'm just going to take, and so it's mostly, it's 3/4 refill about, and then 1/4 water. And then I just leave the colors in here. And because this is watercolor cardstock, it can take a whole lot of paint. And I'm just going to paint on my leaves. This is why I have the scrap paper. You can tell that I've used it, my scrap paper, a couple of times already. And I'm trying to get some of the paint to kind of stay down in where those veins are of my leaves, just to get those a little bit darker. And then on this color, I'm also going to take my card. Should have done it first before I had anything wet here. I'm getting text messages, which I have my phone turned on, do not disturb, so I can film, but my iPad's getting them, but it's downstairs. That's what all the dinging is. So I'm just going to take this and take my bone folder. This is one of the reasons my, you can see where it's splattering. My table's always dirty. And now I just have a little bit besides the black. And then now that this has had a second to soak into the paper, that's all I'm going to do for the background. I'm just going to do one color. You could do a whole bunch of colors if you want. Yeah, just a little bit more. On this color, it doesn't matter so much because those are some tiny leaves. Where did I put my lid? It's in my lap. So if you use these, I just, like I said, I have dedicated colors. And it's best for you to store them tip down. And then when I take them off, I just take a tissue just in case they drip. This one is, oh, I don't think I have this one over on my list. It's spruce. I did not put this one on my list, I just realized. So color my bigger leaves in with the spruce. I have an unusually large set of the green ones because the first time I ever used these, it was for a demonstrator event that we did, and we colored in the ferns, that fern die cuts. So I had lots and lots of greens. Since then, they do stain the tips. You can kind of wash them out a little bit with soap and water. And you can see you can put a whole lot of water on these. So I did go back and I took a couple of them and have replaced them since with like pool party shades of blue that had a tinge of green. So if there was any kind of staining left in it, it didn't ruin them. But you wouldn't want to like take a peacock and put yellow in it after they'd sat for very long. But do store them tip down, because if you store them this way, I have found that they can kind of dry up and then they don't work as well. But I have had these like this for, I can't remember if it's been a year or 2 years though since we've done that event. It's been 2. Because it was April of, not this year. Oh, maybe it's been 1. I don't know. 1, I think. So you can just keep adding color. And kind of like where the veins are, I'm just gonna like dab a little bit more. And then grab my lid. And then I just move the ones since they don't have any writing on them, so I know which ones. And then I'm gonna use blackberry, no, razzleberry, sorry. And then I'm gonna kind of go fast. So my first coat is lighter. I'm gonna smear this around. My other 2 cards are a lot of fun, and they're completely different because the nice thing once the dies came out with this set was that you were able to get some really different looks than you have if you just have the stamp set, because a cake on a stand is lovely, and like the fonts are super great with this set. But once the dies were added to it, like for example getting these flowers off, it just opened up a whole new world of options of what you could do. So I've got that. Now I'm going to take, I really need to take my glasses off. I'm always torn when I do videos. I am going to take my glasses off. I see much better without them on. So now I'm going to go back with my pen, and I'm just going to get some of the petals and put them so they're dark razzleberry. And this is kind of like watercolor cheating. I mean, watercolor painting, but cheating. And you want a little bit of white to stay in there. It'll just kind of lighten up your thing. So that's why the first time I went through, I didn't color everywhere. And you could go back and do like 6 or 7. You could get this razzleberry to be super, super dark. And so that's one of the reasons, like you may think that I want these in all the colors, which I kind of do. I mean, because you know it's a thing, isn't it? To have all of our things in all of the colors. But you can go enough times with this that you would eventually get blackberry. Or like I have the terracotta, and if you go enough times, then you get Cajun Craze. So you can go long enough and enough coats that it gets darker, the lighter colors, to get the darker ones. That's why I've opted to fill these with some of the lighter versions of the dark colors, because you can go and get the... Okay, so there we've got the razzleberry, which is a pretty color. And this looks like it's my mango. Yep. Sometimes it's hard to tell in these. So I'm just going to add that to the center, and I'm going to let it bleed a little bit out because that'll then kind of shade. And then I'm just going to take a dot and let that kind of soak there in the middle. And it'll bleed a little bit, so some of it will be darker than others. So that's super fast. And then this is the terracotta, which if you do it light enough, you can almost get it to be like a petal, not quite petal pink, but a really light pink. So I'm just going to hit that with a little dot. And just get those little berries. And the last color is poppy, which if you do a light poppy, it's actually shockingly orange. I did go back and add some more refill, so this one's got more refill than the others to water. So now it's a little bit more red. When I didn't have enough, it was very, very orange. Because the watered down poppy apparently is orange. So now I'm just going to go back and also hit some of the other petals to just kind of highlight those a little bit. There we go. That's good. And you could do this forever. It's so much fun. Okay, let's move these out of the way and mount our card together. So let's take the little strip from the poppy elements. And these all pop out, but they're not like the sticker dies. Sometimes we have sticker dies. These do need adhesive on them. Just line that up to the edge of the card. And I'm going to take the flowers. And where did I put my dimensionals? Here they are. I'm going to add 3, so there's one behind each of the flowers. And color paper soaks in so quickly that this is already dry. And kind of just angle that on there. And then this is some of the crinkled seam binding ribbon that comes in, I'm pretty sure it's in the Poppy Suite. And it's white, which our card's been a lot. I like to mix my neutrals. So I've cut just a little section of it. Grab a glue dot. We're going to use glue dots to mount everything here on out. Which I could get my take your pick tool, but I'm holding my scissors, so that'll work. So sandwich the 2 ends together like this. Get another glue dot right here. And then take this loop here. This is when you can see all the ink on my hands. So you have like rabbit ears. And kind of squish these together. The ribbon's really light, so it'll go through all of the pieces. Put another glue dot right here. And just kind of take, I don't see my tape, here it is. This will work better. And then take your pick tool and kind of shove it back in there so it's a little bit further. And then kind of grab onto it so the glue dot stays. I'm going to switch over to my pointy tip. And then go back and get your little leaves that we have watercolored. Just add glue dots to the tips of these. And again, just take your pick tool, put your glue dots on the top. Because if you put them on the bottom, then they stick as soon as you start to slide them in. If you do it to the top, then you can get them to where you want them to go. And then when you're done, then just pop so this top of it sticks here. And if your tips are too long, if you find out that you need to cut those, then just cut them before you go. Like this one might, I'll stick it that direction. And then one more. Here we go. Just take my scissors. See how this is super long? I don't need it to be that long, and it's going to go underneath. There we go. So super, super easy. And you would not necessarily know that it came from the birthday cake set because we've illuminated the cake. Here's my other one. So the dots that time, because of the way I hit my pen, were more dotty. This is kind of a more spray, but really it's the same thing. Then use these little things if any place when your hands got inky. You can see how inky mine are. If you've touched anywhere, just take your little splatters and go back and fix it. But I hope you like that. Remember, we will be live and have material for 24 hours. We won't be live the whole 24 hours. We have, I think, 2 make and take kits left. As of Monday, which I expect that they will be gone shortly. And if you need them mailed, you would need to let us know sooner rather than later, so we have time to get them to you. But we do have 12 projects that you can stamp along with us, but we have way more than 12 projects that will be filling our 24 hours of live stamping and recorded stamping. The period between about 11:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll have some recorded stuff like this. I'm getting ready to record my second project with this stamp. But from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. and from about 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. all Eastern Standard Time on Friday night and Saturday this coming week, we will have tons of ideas to share with you, mostly from the mini catalog, but of course there will be other things thrown in as well. So have a great day. Bye.